The 2021 BAL season, also known as BAL Season 1, was the inaugural season of the Basketball Africa League. It was established as a joint effort between the National Basketball Association and FIBA. The BAL is the highest tier continental league in Africa, replacing the FIBA Africa Basketball League. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the BAL held its inaugural season 1 year later as planned, which is the season beginning in 2021, which it began in 2021. So initially, the league planned to play 6 venues in 6 countries. However, due to the pandemic, the season was held in a biosecure bubble in Kigali, Rwanda, similar to what happened in the NBA when there was the COVID-19 pandemic and they had to continue the season. So the bubble secure venue was in Kigali, Rwanda, which is in the BK Arena. The season began on 16th May 2021 and ended 30th May 2021. So the qualifying rounds of the season were held from 16th October to 21st December 2019, with national champions from each African country having the opportunity to qualify through the qualification rounds. Meanwhile, 6 national champions directly qualified to the regular season to make a total of 12 teams in the main tournament. So the Zamalek team, they won the first ever BAL championship after beating US Monastir from Tunisia in the finals and going undefeated over the season. So the plans to establish the BAL by FIBA and the NBA were revealed in the February 2019 during the 2019 NBA All-Star Game. In August 2019, the 7 host cities of the BAL seasons were announced. Additionally, it was revealed that the inaugural BAL Final Four will be played in the Kigali, Rwanda, the BK Arena in Kigali, Rwanda. BAL president and still the president, Amadou Gallo Fall, later announced at the NBA All-Stars 2020 Africa Luncheon in Chicago that the season was planned to tip off on 13th March 2020. On 20th February 2020, it was announced that the 12 teams were to be drawn to 2 conferences, namely the Sahara Conference and the Nile Conference. So the Sahara Conference is West Africa, and the Nile Conference follows the River Nile. But the impacts of the 2019 pandemic were just evident because on March 3rd, 2020, the BL announced it was postponing its inaugural season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The decision was made following recommendations from the Senegalese government. In November, the start of the inaugural season was delayed for a second time and the new season was moved to a later date in 2021. But in March, it was announced the league would commence in May of 2021, almost half the year. The complete event was rescheduled to be held in Kigali, in the Kigali Arena, the BK Arena in Kigali, Rwanda, and the regular season changed its format to 2 groups in 3 groups of 4. All 12 teams were hosted in the biosecure bubble, in which all players were regularly tested for the COVID-19 virus, and all games were broadcasted live by ESPN Africa. So when it came to the qualifications, there were only 6 slots for 6 teams out of a possible 31 nations that participated in the Road to BAL at the time. So the 12 teams for the inaugural BAL season had to qualify in their domestic competitions to be able to play in the league first, similar to other FIBA organized competitions. So 6 teams directly qualified as their national champions, while the other 6 teams qualified through the Road to BAL tournament. And at the time, they didn't call it Road to BAL; they just call it Regional Qualifying Tournament. The direct qualification, which till this day still remains a mystery on how they were able to qualify in there. But anyway, the FIBA announced that the national championships for 6-member associations will directly qualify to the regular season. So this is actually contentious because at the time I didn't understand how they qualified directly while other nations had to get through the Road to BAL at the time. They didn't call it Road to BAL, but they call it the Regional Qualifying Championships. They didn't have a name coined for it. So 6 nations qualified directly. So these teams are from countries which are also host sites for the regular season, except the final four host Rwanda. So on 23rd October 2019, AS Douanes won the Senegalese national championship, becoming the first ever club to qualify for the BAL. So there were 6 countries. There was Angola, their team was Petro de Luanda. Egypt had Zamalek. Morocco had AS Saleh. Nigeria had River Hoopers. Senegal had AS Douanes, who were the first team to qualify. And Tunisia had US Monastir. So those are 6 teams. So in the qualifying tournament, out of 31 nations, only 6 slots. So each of the FIBA Africa member associations was able to register one team from its country to participate in the qualifying tournaments. A total of 31 teams played in the first round, which is divided into 6 groups with 6 different host cities. So the qualification tournament started on 16th October and ended in 21st December 2019. And of the 6 teams that qualified, we had Algeria's GS Petroliers, we had Cameroon's FAP, we had Madagascar's GNBC, we had Mali's AS Police, we had Mozambique's Ferroviário de Maputo, and Rwanda had the Patriots. And Rwanda, it was necessary that they qualified because they were the host venue for the whole tournament. And we had Malawi's Brave Hearts, they withdrew, and Central African Republic, Abeli's, they withdrew from the tournament altogether. But when you look at the qualified teams at the time, it was very difficult to know who was going to win the first ever BAL, given like these circumstances that they had. They are playing in a bubble, and looking at the teams, it was very difficult because we have only seen those teams play domestically. We hadn't seen any of those nations play in a tournament and see who is the best team that came out. So in US Monastir, they hail from Tunisia. They were the winners of the 2018-2019 Championat National A, and they qualified on 1st May of 2019. Then you had Zamalek, hailing from Cairo, Egypt. They won the Egyptian Super League in the 2018-2019 season on 4th May 2019. Petro de Luanda from Luanda, Angola. They won the Angolan Basketball League in that same season, 2018-2019, 25th May 2019. And AS Saleh from Morocco won the 2018-2019 season Division Excellence on 30th May of 2019. The AS Douanes from Dakar won the 2019 National 1 season in their home country. You had River Hoopers from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, winners of the 2019 NBBF Presidential Cup on 17th November 2019. So majority of those teams, they were coming from winning the 2019 titles. GS Petroliers from Algiers, Algeria, West Division winners, 30th November 2019. FAP from Cameroon, from Yaoundé, Cameroon, West Division's runner-up, 30th November 2019. AS Police from Bamako, Mali, West Division 3rd place, 1st December of 2019. The Patriots from Kigali, Rwanda, East Division winners, 21st December 2019. GNBC from Madagascar, East Division runners-up, 21st December 2019. And Ferroviário de Maputo from Mozambique, East Division's 3rd place, 2022 December 2019. So you can see for the first 6 teams, the direct qualification, after they won their domestic leagues, they went directly to the BAL. Then you had the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd slots, which was 6. So you had 1, 2, 3 from the West Division and 1, 2, 3 from the East. They were able to go ahead and qualify for it. So it was a gauntlet, especially for the teams that were starting from beneath and had to go to the region tournament, which right now we call it the Road to BAL. So the teams were set, and it was determined before even the pandemic kicked off. So all these teams already secured their spot. Even before the pandemic hit, we already knew the teams that are going to participate in there. So the teams and personnel was set, and right now they were just looking at just retooling on that squad. And the BAL also allowed foreign players to be there. So in line with the league rules, each BAL team was allowed to have 4 foreign players on its roster, including only 2 non-African players. This was the season where we saw J. Cole play for the Patriots, which was it was actually quite funny. So we had a couple of Americans in there in AS Downes. They had they had like a couple of they had 4 slots. They only used it for 3 players. They had a player from the US, a player from Egypt, a player from Libya in there. But the most notable one was Jermaine Cole playing for the Patriots. So everything was set, and the only thing that was left was for these teams to go ahead and mix it up. So on 1st August 2019, the BAL announced the 7 host cities for the regular season. 6 cities with 6 countries will host the regular season games, with 3 assigned to each conference. So the Kigali Arena in Kigali, they call the BK Arena. So Rwanda was announced as a venue of the inaugural Final Four. Because of the COVID-19 outbreak, it was decided that the whole contest be there. So the Dakar Arena in Senegal has a capacity of 15,000, and it was actually one of the most iconic and just breathtaking arenas when you just see it. The Cairo Stadium Indoor Hall Complex has a capacity of 16,500, and then we have the Kilamba Arena in Luanda, Angola, a capacity of 12,270. The Kigali Arena has a capacity of 10,000. The National Stadium in Nigeria has a capacity of 3,000. So that's among the venues that was set there. And the whole tournament, the way it was set up at the time, because it only took like half of May to be able to have all the teams go ahead and mix it up. You had the Group A, and we had the US Monastir team, we had the Patriots, we got the River Hoopers, and GMBC. So at this time, the Patriots were playing at home, and US Monastir and the Patriots, they came out of Group A on top. Then they had they had like the number 1 and number 2 lock, so they were going to advance to the playoffs. In Group B, Petro de Luanda, ASL, and FAP, they advanced to the playoffs with their spectacular play. And US Monastir were yet to take a loss. They had 3 wins, 0 losses. Patriots had 2 wins, 1 loss. Petro de Luanda still were not. They didn't even take a loss at the time. They were 3-0. ASL was 2-1. FAP was 1-2. Then you had Zamalek, they were 3-0. Ferroviario de Maputo in Group C, 2-1. AS Downes 1-2. And ranking the 3rd place teams, we had FAP, who are 1-2, and AS Downes 1-2. The only thing that made them different, even despite having a similar record, was the fact that their point differential was different. So that's the reason as to why they advanced to the playoffs. Then the playoffs kicked off. So all 8 qualified teams from the group stage were ranked and seeded to determine their matchups. The playoff games were played in a single elimination format. So the playoffs began in 26th May and ended in 30th May for the 2021 BAL finals. That's the time I was covering the BAL. I remember I covered every single game in the playoffs. Then you had US Monastir in the first round. They went ahead AS Downes. They were able to make quick work of them. 86-62 was the final score. Then you had the Patriots versus Ferroviario de Maputo. This game was actually a clutch game. Then the Patriots came in and won that game by 2 points, and they headed on to the semis. Then you had Zamalek versus FAP. Zamalek were just toyed with FAP at the time, and they won that game 82-53 with a blowout win. Then Petro de Luanda versus ASL, very clutch game. Petro de Luanda, they proceeded to face Zamalek. Then in the semis, we had US Monastir versus the Patriots. They blew out the Patriots. Like, seriously, that was 87 US Monastir, 46 Patriots. It was just an unforgiving beatdown. Then Zamalek versus Petro de Luanda. It was actually a quite competitive semis, where Zamalek went ahead and won that 89-71. Petro de Luanda made that game close. Then you had US Monastir versus Zamalek in the finals. Zamalek just did that thing, and they won against the US Monastir to get their first ever trophy in the BAL. Then we had the Patriots versus Petro de Luanda in the finals game for the 3rd place. Not even the finals game, but the 3rd place game. Then you could see Petro de Luanda 97, Patriots 68 to lock in the 3rd spot. So the season was actually quite well. AS Police, GS Petroleers, and GNBC did not win a single game, and it was just quite difficult for them. They were not able to even advance to the playoffs. River Hoopers, they were actually disappointing. They only had one win and two losses. AS Downers 1 win, 3 losses. FAP 1 win, 3 losses. And the team that was just the standout team was Zamalek, who went and had a clean sheet record of 6-0. US Monastir, the only loss that they had was in the finals. Then they were 5-1. Petro de Luanda, they had a 5-1 record and they grabbed in the third place. Patriots were 3-3. But you could see the most valuable player award went to Walter Hodge from Zamalek. The defensive player of the year at the time was Anas Mahmoud, and he hailed from Zamalek. And he was actually quite that guy who was a very good rim protector and rebounder. The sportsmanship award went to Makrem de Ben Romdan from US Monastir. The Ubuntu award went to Hicham Benayad Sharif from GS Petroleers. The scoring champion, Terrell Stoglin from AS Saleh. And also we had the all ball fast team, Omar Abada from US Monastir, Walter Hodge from Zamalek, Wael Arakji from US Monastir, Makrem Ben Romdan from US Monastir, and Anas Mahmoud from Zamalek. So you could see it was a Zamalek and US Monastir affair, because all ball fast team, you only had US Monastir and Zamalek players. US Monastir had 3 all ball fast team players. So those guys were just those two teams were the teams at the time that just ran the BAL. And also looking at the individual stats leaders at the time, points per game, it was Charles Stoglin from Saleh. He averaged 30.8 points per game. Ibrahim Thomas, he led in rebounds from AS Police with 12 rebounds per game. In assists per game, we have Mike Kabongo from Ferroviario de Maputo, 6.8 assists. We had Bara Diop, he averaged the most steals per game, 2.5 steals. Anas Mahmoud on blocks per game, man, from Zamalek, he had 3.2 blocks per game. Then DeMarcus Holland, he led in 2 categories, turnovers per game and minutes per game. So on turnovers per game, he had 4.3 turnovers, and he averaged 36.2 minutes per game, which was the highest. And the guy with the highest field goal percentage was Moyab Yasser from Zamalek. He had a 69% field goal percentage. Then Moluku Diabate from Zamalek, he had a 59.1% 3-point shooting percentage. And Kenny Gasana, he had the highest free throw percentage of 94.1%. And looking at even individual game highs, Terrell Stoglin from AS Saleh, he had 40 points. On rebounds, got John Pedro and by Ibrahim Thomas. I mean, they both had 17 boards. Mike Kabongo from Ferroviario de Maputo, 12. He had 12 assists. Then we had Anas Mahmoud, who had a game high 5 blocks. And Ramdem Slimani from US Monastir, he had 6 threes in a game. And these guys were just dropping like all-time numbers in there in that first season. And the team statistics leaders at the time, you had US Monastir. They averaged 89.9 points per game. FAP rebounds per game, 42 rebounds per game. US Monastir, with their dominance, they were able to not only average more assists per game, but also more steals per game. They averaged 24.4 assists per game and 11 steals per game at the time. Blocks per game for River Hoopers is 5.3 blocks per game. GS Petroleers, they averaged the most turnovers and fouls per game with 22 turnovers per game and 25 fouls per game. So that was actually a stat that no team will ever want to associate with. When it came to the field goals, Zamalek 50% shooting from the field, Ferroviario de Maputo at the time 79% on the free throw line, and 3-point percentage from US Monastir, the highest was 36.1%. So statistically, you can see there were those moments where you could see in the first season, it just showed a bright light, and it showed like these teams have the ability to mix it up and they can produce like quality basketball in there. Then one of the things that was glaring in there was the controversies that surrounded the first ever BL. So the BL had faced controversy by the Guardian over its close ties with the Rwandan government in organizing the league. using the league as a vehicle for sports washing by Rwandan President Paul Kagame, pointing onto pointing to ongoing repression and human rights abuses under his regime. On May 10th, 2021, American rapper J. Cole signed a contract with the Rwandan-based Patriots. In 3 games on the team, he scored 5 points and had 3 assists and 5 rebounds in 45 minutes of gameplay. Terrell Stoglin of Esales states about the signing: for a guy who has so much money and has another career to just come here and average like 1 point per game and still get glorified, is very disrespectful to the game. It's disrespectful to the ones who sacrificed their whole lives for this. So this is actually one thing that was very controversial. I remember at the time I also covered it, and people even still talk about it to this day, because if you look at J. Cole's highlights, they were actually abysmal. And the Patriots, after him playing 3 games, they cut him immediately from the team. I know he came out with the excuse saying that he was not able to show up, but the writing was all on the wall that he wasn't a good player and he was not a good investment. I believe the BAL tried to use his clout and try to clout chase him so that they can get like more ratings, which I found it as a very shrewd move. But it ended up backfiring as, of course, basketball prevailed at the time. So that's just a recap of the first ever season of the BAL. I know I've said a lot of things in there. There were a lot of things to touch on, but hey, the BAL season 1, the way it kicked off, every single year they just kept iterating. And in the next video, I'll talk about the BAL season 2 and just give take an honest opinion on what really transpired. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments on what you think about this season 1. It happened about 3 years ago. Make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments. Smash that like button, helps me out a ton. And also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you can get notified. And I'm out. Peace.